Well, hello, I'm Chris, and this is my Chevelle will not run because of E10 gasoline problems. So the car's been sitting here for 6 months, and I need to move it to get it ready to paint, and it does not run at all. So what this video is just about my experiences dealing with E10 and any information that I can pass on so that you don't have problems. So we're trying to resurrect this car to move it. Hasn't been started in 6 months. Gonna need a battery charger. Make sure you got good voltage on that battery. You may need a spark plug tester. But in this situation, this car used to run perfect 6 months ago. Started up, very smooth engine. Now it doesn't even start. I'll show you what's going on with it. So that's why I like to use these, because it's empty and you can see it fill up, telling you that there is some fuel pressure, because there's a lot of things that can go wrong here. That's why I do not recommend using used parts for ignition or fuel delivery when you're building your car, because this thing won't start now. And if we would have used distributor, used fuel pump, we really don't know, because there's just so many more things that can be going on with this car. But I'm pretty sure it's the gas in the carburetor, and we'll build up and explain what's going on there, and we'll probably have to take it apart. But first of all, let's try to start this thing and see what it's doing in case you're in the same situation. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do, just make sure we got fuel pressure coming in there and we can get gas to the carburetor. First of all, don't even try to crank the car until gas makes it up there. Get you some fresh gas. You're gonna put about 2 tablespoons into the carburetor. So you immediately seen the filter fill with gas, so we don't need to put a pressure gauge. It's probably good. Now we need to make sure our accelerator pump is working. The way you do that is put your finger in there, and they'll have like a little squirter, center squirters, and you want to push the accelerator pump and make sure you get finger in your gas, or if you can look in there, great. Okay, so make sure the accelerator pump is pumping at least something for right now. So when you're trying to do this, you really don't want to pump it more than once or twice, because if that gas is bad, you're just filling everything up with that bad gas. So you can see it's just not starting at all. Now what you want to do is get some of your fresh gas and put it in there, see if you can get it to run that way. Put about 3 tablespoons. So once we get it running with the fresh gas, it'll stay running, but once we take our foot off the pedal, it just dies instantly. So the worst thing about E10 gas is the fact that it has alcohol in it, and they say it's hygroscopic, meaning it attracts water. I took this sample out of the filter last night to see if the gas was orange or just bad. The gas looked fine, and it didn't have any phase separation. I live in Houston, Texas, and it's real humid, and you can see that little puddle at the bottom. That was there today. So this stuff, in fact, 100% true that it pulls moisture just out of the air and forms little stuff like that. So the whole point of why I'm showing you this is to do your own little test. You really do need to do this test. Kind of freak you out a little bit when you see how much water is actually in there. That's not cool, just from leaving this out overnight. So the problem lies in that carburetor. So that carburetor has 2 vents on it. Been out here for 6 months. We went through Harvey, we went through a freeze, and temperature here in Houston, Texas goes from 40 to 80 sometimes. Well, it has recently. So this thing has went through a lot of humidity shifts back and forth. The problem is going to lie inside that carburetor. We're going to have to take the top off. For this video, we'll take it all the way off. So let's take it off and let's put it on the table so you can really see what's going on, if we got any of this, because the car won't even start. And the only thing that I can think of is it's got freaking something settled out of it. So let's check that out. Okay, Okay, so one of the things I'm noticing already is that this is way dirtier than I ever imagined. I don't even drive this car yet. You can already see what's going on. And it also looks like this filter has broken, like it was glued down there. So that's why you gotta take all this stuff apart and really see what's going on. I would have never seen that just messing with this on the car. So okay, so we're just taking the top off the carburetor. We're gonna look in there and see if we can see anything messed up. So okay, now we're just gonna inspect real quick, get these out, and we already see some kind of like discoloration. I don't know. One of them is like green, and this one looks normal, and this one looks weird. And this is what ethanol gas does to your carburetor at first glance. What is this? Okay, so this is the first time in my life I've ever seen this green like this. I guess that just could be a dead giveaway that water's been in there or is in there. See all that corrosion stuff from the floats in there? That's a dead giveaway that stuff's all clogged up. That's why you got to take this stuff all apart. I've never seen this. It's like weird crystals. So this is a first for me. I usually see gel, like jelly in here at the bottom. This one just seems to have some kind of a whole bunch of this corrosion stuff or whatever it is. So if that's in there, that means it pretty much went in all the jets and stopped everything up. So we're gonna go ahead and take everything apart and blow it out, because this is what it's full of in here. Now this is in my other carburetor video where I rebuild this one. It's an older video, but this carburetor was completely clean, 100% perfect, and ran perfect for over a year. And this, I guess, is just from sitting up for 6 months with E10 gas in it. That slimy stuff I was talking about, that gel. See the gel? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it smells like varnish. So this video kind of changed. I was not expecting that weird green stuff. I was expecting it to have a bunch of the jelly. So I guess what they're putting in gas has changed in 10 years when I used to mess with stuff like this. But so pretty much just kind of scrubbed as much of that crap off as I could. Now we're just going to clean it with the air compressor. You got to have an air compressor to do this. See, and that's another questionable thing, that these weren't rusty before, and evidently there was a bunch of moisture in there causing that. I'm just going to blow every single hole out. Gotta blow these jets out 100% for sure. So the thing is, I should be putting in barium and chem dip, but I don't want to risk screwing up my gaskets because I did just rebuild this one. So this green stuff is actually 100% from the water, and you could see exactly what happened in there regardless of how it happened. Just take these out. We got to clean this crap off because it's just going to fall down and cause more problems. So real quick, when you're doing this, make damn sure the float still floats. Didn't eat through it for some weird reason. That's all I'm doing, just cleaning it up like that. But we did get the car to run a little bit, so the needles and seats should be fine. They look good. Just inspect for dirt and crap on them. We need to check out the accelerator pump and make sure that it's not damaged. The bore right here can get corrosion. I had one time because when water gets on aluminum, it makes that like white crusty stuff, and will pretty much just rip this to crap or screw it all up. It does seem a little extra soft, but you know, that's not a big deal. Inspect that bore. This bore feels 100% fine, not one bit of corrosion, and doesn't seem to be ripped. So this is my little educational part where I'm going to try to explain to you what's going on if you're in the same situation with the old carbureted car. So E10 is the regular gas that they sell pretty much everywhere right now. So the first thing we need to know is E10, that just means it's ethanol 10% blended with gas. And ethanol is alcohol that comes from corn. So if it's an alcohol blended with gas, alcohol mixes with gas. Remember that. Number two important thing is alcohol mixes with water. And then the third and most important thing is that gas and water do not mix. So pretty much gas and alcohol, you know, they want to get together and be that blend, But alcohol has his ex water that, you know, is kind of making this relationship difficult. See, she's like wanting to stay with him, but he needs to go over to her. Okay, so I guess gas is the girl is a bra and some panties, and they want to be in a relationship together, but water is like the clinging ex that's kind of getting in the way with these problems, and I guess water is a girl too. It's fucking stupid. Okay, so the other thing you need to know is that alcohol is hydroscopic, meaning that it attracts water. That was that little cup that I was showing you that I pulled a sample to see if there was phase separation or if the gas was bad, and there wasn't. And I left a little jar out overnight in probably over 50% humidity in Houston, and it just draws and attracts moisture. Moisture is H2O in air measured as humidity, and the next day I had a little bubble of water at the bottom, probably 1, 2, 3%, but it pulled that moisture straight out of just the freaking atmosphere. So the next problem occurs in the gas tank. In my situation, we didn't have to mess with it because my gas tank was sealed off the way it was supposed to be from the factory. Now I do have a vented gas cap, so that could allow some moisture in there, but that's why I took that sample, just to make sure that there was any phase separation. So, okay, so I'm not an expert in this, but what I think happens is that this is gas. And whenever it pulls in so much moisture, it's going to dilute the alcohol down to a point where it no longer mixes with the gas. So if you leave your gas tank out for 1 year and you don't have a gas cap on it and it's not fully hooked up, it's just going to be pulling moisture in and eventually get so much H2O water mixed with that ethanol in the gas that it's just literally going to phase separate, and now you have water. And we'll show that. I don't know if I've done it already in the test. That's what you're testing for. Okay, so a carburetor is just a bowl of gas. It's not under pressure. It's just sitting there hanging out. Now carburetors have vents. If you don't understand that, take your carburetor off and flip it upside down, and all the gas just runs out. It's running out of the vents. So in the period of 6 months, what happened to my carburetor is it was pulling in H2O moisture just from the air sitting up for 6 months. It got so much water in there that it literally phase separated halfway full of water. And the floats in the video, you can see that they were just green from being corroded from the water. And then what ultimately happened was all that corrosion came off as sediment or grit, filling the bottom of my carburetor up with trash, just causing all kinds of problems and not allowing anything to run. So the next quick thing is talking about heat. That additive, all it is methyl alcohol. But I'm telling you right now that if you have phase separation, that the heat is not going to do anything. The heat is just kind of preventive maintenance for your car running bad, and heat does work 100%. Big thumbs up to heat. It works great, but once you've come to this point, heat is not going to do anything. I don't know if I'll include it in the video, but I did some tests on it and absolutely nothing. It just literally bonds with the water and actually increases the water level, adding heat to a situation where it's already phase separated. Okay, it says to mark something 6 or 7 inches, you want to use something skinny and tall opposed to something like this. And 6 or 7 inches tall, we're using centimeters, and we marked it at 2 centimeters and filled it with water. Now when we add the gas, we're looking for that line to change, and it's going to give us an idea because the alcohol mixes with water, and it's going to change that line and give us an idea how much alcohol or ethanol is in our gas. We're going to use some year-old gas. It's been in this can right here. So now mix it up real good. Okay, and this is the phase separation. We're gonna look for that line to change. Okay, so this is some year-old gas, and you can see that there's not very much ethanol in there. I would call that like 5% or less than 5%. So this gas is good, and it really is good. That's the one I was using to start the car with. So see, the new gas is a lot more clearer than the old gas. So let's shake this up. So on the new gas, that phase separation happened really quick, and you can see, I mean, that's less than 5% of ethanol in that gas. So let's add some heat to it. It says it's methyl alcohol. Let's see if it changes the line. We're just going to add about a tablespoon. We see where our line is. Let's mark it. So I'm pretty sure that this only works for that kind of moisture, not this kind of moisture. But let's put some in there and see what it does if it changes that line. Okay, so you kind of get an idea how much I put in there. So I don't really know what just happened here, but that little line just mixed with the water. So this is alcohol, I guess. Okay, so we got it all back on there. Let's put some gas in there and see if this thing will run now. So you see, I didn't even pump the gas, I didn't even do anything. It just freaking started all of a sudden, and now it runs perfect again. So let's just adjust this carburetor. Okay, so when I took the carburetor apart, I was talking about the accelerator pump. This rubber felt extra squishy, and it did. It ruined my accelerator pump. I got to put another one in there. But it's not a big deal. It still runs. But it didn't damage the bore, corrode the bore, and rip it. It just turned it extra soft when it was left in water. So. See that? So if your car all of a sudden doesn't want to start, doesn't do anything, take the carburetor apart, clean it out just like I did, and you'll solve your problem just like I did. Well, that's it for the video. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe.